Hello, boys. I would like to thank the girls from 6G for encouraging me to make a podcast that is like this. Sorry, I don't know why it's not appearing. Just give it a minute because it is loading. I feel like I should put the Jeopardy music on. I don't know why. Maybe we'll take it out of full screen. After last week's podcast of using the right word, I was asked to kind of like go to cover several rules they felt were challenging, and they really so graciously gave me a list. So this is actually part one of a two-part podcast. The second podcast will be Nazar next week, addressing some of these words as well. They just felt like that last week's podcast did not necessarily cover, certain rules that they felt challenging. So you can really thank them for really helping enhance your writing. So the first word that they came across with, honestly, I actually think is, a really important one is affect versus affect. How will I ever figure out the difference between them? So often, I don't know, am I affecting it using an A or affecting it using an E? So I actually found a short video that I want to show you that I think will hopefully help you understand the difference between affect and effect. So let us watch the video to help us understand. I want to see why it's not working on. Just make this louder.
Today we'll be discussing two words, affect and effect. These words are very similar and can be confusing, so I'm here to clear some things up. First of all, affect is a verb, meaning to act on or produce an effect. Effect is a noun, meaning result or consequence. Think of it like this. Imagine a tree in the middle of a field. Above that tree is an unexplainably angry cloud. The cloud affects the tree by striking it with lightning, leaving behind an effect, in this case, a pile of ash. Still confused? Fortunately for us all, there's an easy way to remember which word is which with the word raven. Raven is a mnemonic device that stands for, remember, affect equals verb, effect equals noun. Once you have this down, it's easy to check yourself. For instance, let's say you were unsure about our previous example when the cloud affected the tree rather violently. Try substituting the verb affected with another verb. Any verb will do. Let's say tickled. Making the new sentence, the cloud tickled the tree. A verb works here, so you should use the word affect. It's important to have good grammar, and yes, it does affect your credibility. So thank you for watching, and remember, affect equals verb.
Okay, so as we learned in this lovely short video, affect is a verb and effect is a noun. I don't know. Okay, so let's look at this example. The storm knocked down power lines, affecting or effecting several thousand people in rural communities, but the smell of freshly baked bread may have positive effects or affects far beyond the obvious ones. So looking at the first one, the storm knocked down power lines, and kind of like gives me memories of Hurricane Sandy, in which unfortunately many people were out of power for a very, very long time. It was definitely a very cold couple of days or week. So the storm knocked down power lines, affecting several thousand people in rural communities. That is a verb. That is an active thing. So I'm actually going to put in, I'm going to actually put in affect over here, affecting several thousand people in rural communities, because in this case, it is a verb. Versus, let's actually make this into red so it can kind of stick out nicely. Versus, but the smell of freshly baked bread may have positive effects. It's not an action. It's affecting other people. It's kind of like, so remember thinking about our raven, mnemonic. It's a noun. It's affecting, having positive effects far beyond the obvious ones. So affect with an A is when it's kind of like acting as a verb, is having effect on something else, like when the cloud tickled the tree, versus effect, it's kind of like a noun. It's like kind of like what's caused by the effect. The effect causes the effect, okay? So just to review, the affect with an A is a verb in action, and effect is what's caused from the action. The smell of freshly baked bread is causing positive effects. Let's look at the next example. So the next example is accept versus accept. So accept with an A is to accept an invitation, to receive, to admit as true, say yes, I accepted the invitation for the bar mitzvah. I accepted his invitation to marry me. Accept is like an exception, to leave out, to exclude. He got a gift for everyone except me. So accept with an A is to kind of receive, to admit as true, say yes. Accept with an E, to leave out, exclude. What about farther versus further? Farther, actually, I actually saw a trick online. Farther, think about the actual part, the word farther has the word far in it. So therefore, when we're using the word farther, we're talking about physical distance. How much farther is it? Versus further is like a more figurative. If you complain further, I'm going to ask you to leave. We're not talking about an actual physical distance. We're kind of like more figurative. Like if you keep on acting, if you complain further, I'm going to ask whatever. That's actually the same exact sentence. Spazzy moment for a second. But just the idea, farther is physical distance, FAR is in the actual word, and further is a more figurative. What about less versus fewer? Fewer are things that you can actually count. I can count M&Ms. I can count glasses of water. I can count potatoes. It's also, you use it with plural nouns. M&Ms, glasses of water, potatoes. Less are things that you can't count. You can't count candy. You can't count water. Like how much water is there in a lake? You can't count potato salad. Potato salad is like an entity. What am I supposed to count? So there are fewer M&Ms in the bowl than there are candy corn, or there's less candy than I would like, or there's less water than soda, or there's less potato salad than egg salad. So I can't physically count candy. I can't physically count water. I can't physically count potato salad, but I can physically count a specific type of candy. I can't specifically count a glass of water, and I can specifically count an entity of the potato salad, which is potatoes. And therefore, fewer would have to go with the things that I can count, and lesser the things that I cannot count. What about here versus here? It's really honestly that you just in this case have to really learn the spelling. Here is a place. I am here right now. I am in Yeshiva. No, I'm actually not really. I'm actually really in my home in Bergenfield, but I am here in a place. Or versus here, listening with an HEAR. I'm listening. I'm hearing if I hear my children crying upstairs. So in this case, as I mentioned, you really just need to learn the spelling. And our favorite, two, and two. T-O, I am going to the store. T-W-O, I have two brothers, which is a fact. I do have two brothers, Afi and Yitzchak. And two, I want to come to also. I kind of think of like two, like T-O-O, like a tummy ache. I have a tummy ache too much. I want to come to also. Sometimes I'm a burden when I'm also. So two, T-O is like a place. T-W-O is with brothers, and T-O-O is I want to come also. In this case as well, you just need to learn the spelling in order to figure out the difference. So just to review, today we learned several different words. We learned about affect versus effect. Affect is like a verb. Effect is what's caused from the verb. We learned about accept. Accept is to kind of receive, to admit. Accept with an E is like to leave out. We learned farther is an actual distance versus further is more figurative. We learned less is kind of things that you cannot count versus fewer, which are things that you can actually count. Here, H-E-R-E, here I am versus here, let me hear you. And two, going to a place, T-W-O, number two, and T-O-O also. Tonight for homework, you are going to be doing the affect versus effect assignment, as well as some right source pages. Have a great night.